If you want to avoid a nation slipping into autocracy, the rights of individuals in a position of government should never exceed the rights of the people. Yet in today's upside down world, government has all sorts of rights and abilities that are illegal for everyday Americans. And insider trading is one of the most flagrant examples of that today. For example, if you take a look at the salaries of US Congress members, they're making about $180,000 per year. Yet when you take a look at the net worth of many of these Congress members, you can see that they range from the tens of millions all the way up to the hundreds of millions. This has led to the creation of tracking US Congress members trading with platforms like capitaltrades.com and quiverquant.com, with many of these tracking indexes massively outperforming the general stock market. Now, this is a slap in the face to everyday Americans for a number of reasons. One of them is because they are trading on inside information, which is something that is illegal for everybody else. But not only are they trading on inside information, something that they know, they're actually trading on something that they can force to happen when they themselves are voting for and causing a particular government contract to go to a private corporation and then investing in that company before that information is public. Not only is that insider information, but that's also on force. They're causing an outcome to happen and then profiting on it. As a result, pretty much everybody across the board except for Congress themselves, free market Nancy Pelosi, insert video of Nancy Pelosi.
Should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to this second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock, on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review, but if people aren't reporting, they should be. Because this is a free market and we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
Everybody is against insider trading by Congress and thinks it should be outlawed and stopped. However, as a thought experiment, I would like to propose going one step farther and not only making it illegal for Congress, but also presenting a defense on why it should actually be legal for everybody else, everybody outside of government. If you don't know who I am, my name is Joe Brown. I run Heresy Financial University, where I teach active investors how to get higher returns with less risk on their portfolios by learning how markets actually work. If you're interested, link is in the description below. The first reason why insider trading should be legalized is because it is a victimless crime. Now, that might shock you to hear at first, but I need to clarify that we're not talking about fraud here. So insider trading many times gets conflated with things like pump and dump schemes or outright market manipulation, and they're actually different things. If somebody with large influence is saying everybody should go and buy this, I'm buying it, but at the same time, they are actually selling it and trying to entice other people to buy because they are trying to sell, that's fraud. Similarly, if I am publicizing false information about a company to drive its results either down or higher so that I can unwind a trade, that is also market manipulation, that is fraud. And we're not talking about that here. We're talking about somebody with information that is not available to the public making an investment or a trade decision as a result. And that by itself, as long as there's no fraud involved, is a victimless crime. Now, you might think if a CEO or an analyst that's working at a company, they have information and they make a purchase decision of a stock because they have information that leads them to believe the stock is going to go up, then they are profiting off of that, which means the person that sold them that stock, by necessarily, they're going to be disadvantaged. They're going to be taken advantage of. Well, the reality is in public markets, that person was going to sell those shares anyway to somebody else. So the insider, the analyst, the CEO buying those shares is not causing any harm to any market participant. They're buying shares that would have been bought by somebody else. The only difference is they have a higher conviction that that action will result in a profit for themselves. But again, it's still actually a victimless crime. And anything that does not result in an actual victim should not be illegal. Number 2, insider trading being legalized would actually cause more efficient markets. Unless you're brand new to trading and investing, I'm sure you've waited on the edge of your seat for an earnings release either before or after the market closes to see whether the company that you were trading or investing in beat expectations, met expectations, or missed expectations. And depending on whether you were long or short, that either made your day and made you a bunch of money or ended up with some big red on your screen. The reality is if insider trading was legal, then more money would would be trading and investing on that information prior to it becoming public, which means that in and of itself would move markets in advance of that information becoming public, which means that coming up into an earnings release, if you see the stock falling, then you would have more reason to believe that those earnings numbers were going to miss expectations. More efficient markets means more of a level playing field and less volatility, as that non-public information would become public through the price of the security faster. Number 3, and this is related to number 2, but insider trading being legalized would actually incentivize that information becoming public faster, because now people would have a legal profit motive to go and find all that inside information and then invest and trade on it. And to the extent that that happens, that inside information would be reflected in public prices even faster. So that profit motive, just like today there's a profit motive for people discovering fraud so that they can short the company, and how that is far more efficient and way more effective at reducing and exposing fraud and punishing that fraud than the SEC or any regulatory body could ever hope to be. Legalizing insider trading would do the exact same thing. Number 4, prosecuting insider trading today is actually extremely difficult because there's a huge gray area. You have to be able to prove motive. You have to prove intent. You have to be able to prove that somebody had the knowledge, the information that was non-public, and then made an investment decision as a result of that. And proving what goes on inside somebody's mind is actually very difficult. And there are cases in which insider traders have been caught and have been prosecuted, but usually it's because there's text messages or emails with insiders saying, hey, give me this information. I'm going to make some money on this, and I'm going to pay you for it. And then there's a big paper trail, or even people Googling how to insider trade. But outside of these very rare circumstances, most insider trading still happens today, and it just goes unprosecuted. Which leads into number 5, the fact that well over half of insider trading is not even possible because it's the trades that don't happen as a result of inside information that are never going to be enforceable. Imagine you are an analyst, you're an accountant, you're somebody putting together the earnings material for the press conference, you're a CEO, you're somebody who has access to this inside information, and you were gonna buy the stock, but as a result of the bad information that you see, you decide to not make that investment. That's still making an investment decision based on inside information and is still technically illegal. But as you can see, it's clearly unenforceable. You'd never be able to figure out if somebody had the intent to buy something and then chose not to as a result of the information. So it's the actions that never happen as a result of inside information that are still technically illegal, but completely unenforceable and always will be. And any law that is over 50% of it is unenforceable should probably not be a law. It's very similar to things like front running and high frequency trading. High frequency trading is technically not illegal because it's just the speed at which you're trading. Front running and making those trades happen in front of somebody else's trade, knowing that that trade is going to go through in order to capitalize on the small market movements, that is technically illegal. But again, it's basically impossible to prove that that is happening, and so it's pretty much unenforceable. The 6th reason why insider trading should be legalized for everybody outside of government is because insider trading is actually already legal in pretty much every normal market. Like, imagine real estate. You're working at a company and you know that your company is going to be building factories in a city that they don't have any presence in just a few years. You've got some savings, so you go up and you buy a few rental properties in the area, knowing that there's going to be jobs that are brought into the economy, and you want to be there to be able to supply housing to anybody that might come in for those jobs. You are absolutely making investment decisions based off of insider knowledge, but it's not illegal at all. Further than that, you didn't disadvantage or take advantage of any of those home sellers. They were already going to sell those homes in the first place. They had their own reasons to sell, you had your own reasons to buy. And just because you know the factory is coming into that city does not necessarily mean that your investment in those houses will actually be profitable, which brings us into number 7, which is that insider information does not guarantee profitability. Because imagine there's some other information that you don't know about, which is some home builders got wind of the factory and they start building up a ton of new homes in the area, flooding that market with new supply, driving down the value of your rental, and suddenly you can't rent it out at a price higher than your debt service costs. You're forced to sell the homes at a loss. And even though you had insider information, you still were not able to use that to profit. And we see this happens all the time in public markets with stocks, where a company will come out and their earnings will beat expectations, but for one reason or another, the stock price will still fall as a result. So if you're a CEO or an insider who buys the stock on non-public information, that insider knowledge that the company is going to come out with great results, that still doesn't guarantee profitability. You may buy those shares and you may suffer a loss still. And this happens all the time, as anybody who is any experience with investing or trading is fully aware of. Now, the eighth reason why insider trading should be legalized is because there's a huge gray area on what actually counts as inside information. The exact same information and making a trade or investment decision based on that information could either be legal or illegal depending on how that information was obtained. A classic example that is used a lot is if you are in a restaurant sitting at a table next to a CEO who is bragging about their results that are going to be coming out soon. You happen to overhear the conversation and you make a trade based off of that. That would be perfectly okay legal inside trading. But if you were sitting at the table with him and he was talking to you, now you're breaking the law. At this point, the main response that people start to have is, well, it's still so unfair though. I don't have access to inside information, and so somebody else shouldn't be able to profit off of the inside information that they have. Yes, I know that it's unenforceable over 50% of the time. Yes, I know that it happens and it's unprosecutable because you can't prove intent many times. Yes, I know that just because somebody delivered the information or overheard the information a different way makes it legal or illegal. Yes, I know that they could still lose money off of it and inside information does not guarantee profitability. Yes, I know that it's a victimless crime and they're not actually disadvantaging whoever sold them the shares or bought the shares from them, but it's still unfair. And to be honest, the only rational response to that is sucks to suck. Just because something is unfair is not a rational reason to outlaw it. It is unfair that I grew up with two parents who stayed married my entire life, with a stay-at-home mom who made sure I graduated, and I always had clothes and food and had a home environment that allowed me to get good grades. That is unfair because that is not available to many kids. Should it be outlawed then? Simply for the sake of everybody having a level playing field? That's a slippery slope. And the final reason here why it should be legalized, and this is probably the one that's a little bit more difficult to wrap your head around, is that trading and investing is not a zero-sum game. While it looks to be that way on the surface, because if I buy a stock and it goes down, I bought it from you, that means you won and I lost. Or if I buy the stock from you and then it goes up, I won, you lost. And so it absolutely does seem that way on the surface, but it completely ignores that value is subjective, which means that all day long, humans are making decisions based off of what they think will benefit them the most, which means there are an infinite number of reasons why I may buy a stock or sell a stock. I may be selling so that I can go buy something else that I value more than that stock. And so the fact that you bought it from me and then it happened to become worth more at a later point has no bearing on me. I sold it for a different reason. A short-term trader may sell a stock at a profit to a long-term investor who buys it and holds it for a very long time, and they both profit. And as a hypothetical experiment, if you were able to completely eradicate all trading or investing based off of any information that was not perfectly publicly known by everybody all at the same time, then you would eliminate any price action or any trading or any investing from actually being able to take place. It is that speculation on the future value that forces people into trying to discover if there is an edge, looking at the charts, looking at the fundamentals. Even some companies going so far as looking at satellite data to look at traffic in and out of areas to see if business is going up or going down. At the end of the day, that is what investing is. It's trying to figure out all the information possible to make an informed decision about investing for the future. And as we discussed earlier, price action itself is one of the ways in which information about the company gets communicated to the public, which means that many times these insider trading laws actually prevent that information from becoming public faster. I know this topic is probably a little bit of a controversial one, but I didn't call this channel Heresy Financial for no reason. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree, and why in the comments below. And if you're tired of losing money investing and you'd like to gain access to the best source of financial education available anywhere, the link to join Heresy Financial University is in the description below. As always, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.